They see me coming from across the park, and I watch their faces transform. That familiar softening around the eyes, the involuntary smile, the way their voices climb an octave higher. Oh my God, look at that gorgeous dog. And just like that, I'm reduced to my appearance again. Beautiful. Stunning. Magnificent. Never smart. Never complex. Never hurting. My name is Copper, and I am an Irish setter living in a world that sees only my silky red coat flowing like liquid fire in the sunlight. My elegant frame that moves with what they call natural grace, and my soulful amber eyes that supposedly hold all the wisdom of my ancient Celtic bloodline. What they don't see is the weight I carry, the crushing expectation of perfection that comes with looking like I stepped out of a painting. Every morning begins the same way. The brush. Oh, that endless ritual with the brush. My human Sarah runs it through my coat with religious devotion, her fingers working through each strand like she's praying. "We have to keep you looking perfect, don't we, boy?" she whispers, and I want to tell her that I'd trade all this beauty for just one day, where someone looked past my appearance and truly saw me. But I can only press my head against her hand and hope she understands what my eyes are trying to say. The grooming salon is my monthly pilgrimage to a special kind of purgatory. The groomer always gasps when she sees me, as if my beauty is something shocking, something that demands reverence. "You're absolutely stunning," she tells me, the same words I've heard 1,000 times, while her hands work to maintain this coat that feels more like a costume I can never take off. The blow-dryer roars for what feels like hours, transforming me into something even more ethereal and untouchable than when I walked in. I remember the day I realized I was different. I was barely a year old, gangly and uncertain, when a little girl at the park pointed at me and declared to her mother, "That's the most beautiful dog I've ever seen." Her mother nodded, then added with casual cruelty, "Probably not the smartest, though." Those pretty ones usually aren't. The words hit me like a physical blow. Even then, I understood that my worth was measured in brushstrokes and photo opportunities, not in the complex thoughts that swirled behind my amber eyes. The loneliness is the hardest part. People approach me constantly, but they never really see me. Their hands reach for my coat, their voices coo about my appearance, their cameras capture my exterior beauty. But when I try to show them who I am, when I solve a puzzle toy or demonstrate my understanding of their emotions, they're already moving on, satisfied with the superficial interaction they came for. I'm like a living painting in a museum, admired, photographed, but never truly known. At the dog park, I watch humans light up when they spot me, but their attention feels hollow. They want to touch my silky coat, comment on my regal bearing, take photos to show their friends later. When I play, they describe it as graceful, even when I'm stumbling over my own long legs. When I make mistakes, they smile indulgently, as if my errors are charming quirks that add to my appeal, rather than genuine struggles I'm working through. The pressure to maintain this image is suffocating. Sarah schedules my exercise around peak sunlight hours because, she says, my coat photographs better in natural light. She's turned my daily walks into photo shoots, constantly stopping to capture the way the light catches my red fur or the noble way I hold my head. I've learned to pose on command, to turn my face just so for the camera, to be perpetually ready for someone's Instagram moment. But inside, I'm screaming. I just want to sniff interesting smells and chase squirrels without worrying about my photogenic profile. The weather is another cruel joke. This magnificent coat that everyone admires becomes a furnace in summer heat. I pant desperately in the shade while people comment on how majestic I look, never realizing I'm struggling to stay cool under this blanket of beauty. In winter, despite appearing built for cold weather with my thick coat, I shiver because it's more fluff than function. All show, little substance. The shedding situation adds another layer of guilt to my existence. I leave traces of myself everywhere, red hair floating like autumn leaves through Sarah's house, coating her black clothes, accumulating in corners like reminders of the burden my beauty places on those who love me. I see her frustration sometimes, the way she sighs when she finds another pile of my hair. And I wish I could apologize for the mess that comes with loving something so supposedly perfect. The health anxiety that surrounds me is overwhelming. Every slight limp sends Sarah into panic mode, not just from love, but from the terrifying possibility that something might mar my perfection. The veterinarian handles me like I'm made of spun glass, as if my beauty makes me more fragile than necessary. I've been to specialists for issues that might be overlooked in others, simply because my appearance makes everyone assume I must be more delicate, more precious, more breakable. But perhaps the cruelest irony is how my supposed beauty has become a barrier to genuine connection. People see me and make assumptions that I'm high maintenance, that I'm probably spoiled, that I exist primarily for show. The truth is, I long for the muddy adventures that would horrify my humans, the simple joy of being judged by my character rather than my appearance, the freedom to have an off day without disappointing everyone who expects me to be perpetually picture perfect. There are moments when the weight becomes almost unbearable. When children pull my ears and adults allow it because I'm so patient and beautiful. When photographers at the park treat me like a prop rather than a sentient being. When well-meaning strangers interrupt my walks to take selfies, never asking Sarah if I'm comfortable, never considering that I might be tired or anxious or simply wanting to be left alone. I think about my ancestors sometimes, the Irish setters who ran free across emerald fields, valued for their hunting skills and loyal hearts rather than their photogenic qualities. They were partners, not ornaments. They were loved for their spirit, not their appearance. I wonder if they would recognize what I've become, a living accessory in a world obsessed with surface beauty. The saddest part is that beneath this flowing red coat beats a heart full of intelligence, humor, and deep emotional complexity. I have thoughts and fears and dreams that have nothing to do with my appearance. I worry about Sarah when she's sad. I celebrate small victories in my training. I have preferences for certain toys and games that reflect my personality, not my breed standard. But these parts of me remain largely invisible, overshadowed by the constant focus on my exterior. Some nights I lie in my bed wondering what it would be like to be ordinary. To walk through the world without turning heads, to have conversations based on my actions rather than my appearance, to form friendships built on genuine connection rather than aesthetic appreciation. Would I trade my beauty for that freedom? The question haunts me because I know I'll never have to make that choice. So when you see an Irish setter, please remember, behind those soulful amber eyes is a heart that beats with hopes and fears that have nothing to do with the silky coat that frames my face. I am not just living artwork or an Instagram opportunity. I am a soul wrapped in silk, hoping desperately that someone someday will love me for my heart rather than my genetics. Until then, I carry my beauty like armor, protecting the vulnerability beneath while longing for someone brave enough to look deeper and see the individual I truly am, complex, intelligent, and achingly real beneath this stunning exterior. The morning sun catches my coat as I write this, turning each strand into liquid copper, and I know that once again my appearance will overshadow my words. But perhaps, if you've read this far, you've seen past the surface to the soul beneath, and that gives me hope that beauty and understanding don't always have to be strangers.